my best friends. Some people say we have a problem, but every night I make a new best friend, and the only problem is we like having a good time.
Hello, is the power going to stay on? Is everything good?
We got it
Yeah.
for
All
now.
right, we're
Don't
good.
jinx it.
Everything. I don't want to jinx it. I don't
Knock on
believe in
wood.
superstition. I don't want to jinx it though. But hello, friends. Love wrestling. How are we doing? It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. And you know what that means. It's another episode
Me, baby.
of Between Two Beards. We got the hard hour tonight because coming up at 9 o'clock, we have Quizplex, another fantastic edition coming up for us this evening
with
here.
Von Vertigo, TJ Cannon, and Eli Surge. I almost forgot about Mr. Surge there. He's awesome.
Yeah, so we got three awesome guests, and we know Zach will be killing it as the host of Quizplex starting at 9. Zark, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Every time you yell at me.
Dude,
Every
get his
time.
name right.
How we doing, Pluggo?
We're doing well. We're hanging in there. It's been a week.
Tough week. It's been a tough week.
And we're not going to waste too much time because we got
No.
an awesome guest. Jeff Hawkins is in the house. We did tell him to have a dance number prepared in case, shit goes haywire with the internet again this week. But I think he'll be okay with it because that generous check that Spencer wrote to get him on the show.
Absolutely. You know what we do is we blow
Without
budgets here.
further ado, let's bring
him on. We have our friend,
the legend,
Jeff
You
Hawkins.
put me on with a week where we have a hard out. You got to be kidding me.
I know.
Don't they know who I am?
We got to test your patience. We got to test. We had to test you
Don't they
tonight.
know who we are? We're not
No
the best at the
refreshments in
hard
the
hour.
green room, no snacks, and now I got a hard out. Okay.
He's tightening up the purse strings.
He really
this month.
is. He really is.
this year
It's
he's
been
like,
tough.
In 2023, we have to have our numbers in the black, not the red, guys. Like blah blah blah. It's
But
like,
just to ruin the show even further, I do admire you asking Pluggo how he's doing as if we haven't been talking for the last 10 minutes.
It's true. It's true. Well, Pluggo and I were in there for way longer than that.
Just kayfabing the hell out of the show.
We're in there for way longer than that.
Yeah, we just turn this thing on and go. We don't
literally.
Yeah,
we just riff.
Pluggo, no one gives a damn how you're feeling. Let's just do the show here. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to have a hard hour today. I don't care about your kids and what you got going on.
100%.
Let's just get through this. Damn it.
Yeah.
Like a marriage in trouble or something like that.
We've been doing this for too long. I'm getting sick of you.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what it is? Every time I'll pull the curtain back, literally every week that he asks me off air how I'm doing, I go fucking exhausted.
Every
So
literally. And then I always have something I just go.
The thing that throws me off still is the wacky 80s sitcom music and video type of thing. Because that's just, it's like, I'm always thinking this is like a bad episode of My Two Dads, except it's Between Two Beards.
That's what it is. That's the vibe we're heading for. That's the vibe we're heading for.
I would like to look at us more along the lines of like, I'm like the Danny Tanner and he's like the John Stamos was that Uncle Jesse.
I wish.
Only because I have the kids, he doesn't, and he's like, "What's with your kids, man?"
Oh man, all right. I was gonna say I once went to a weekend-long rock festival, and they had a gentleman who made a John Stamos out of butter. True story. That's a true story. That's a true story. I could probably go back. I can't do it now, but I'm going to try to go back into see if I have a picture of it, and I will share it on Twitter after
I
the
saw
show.
John Stamos made out of butter open for the string.
100%. And by the end of the week, like when we got there, it was in an encased cold thing. And when we got there, it was just a mound of butter standing on like I don't know. And the guy was in there all day. This is a 3-day music festival. It's called Riot Fest. It takes place every year in Chicago.
Yeah.
I know what that is. Okay.
Yeah. And by the end of the weekend, you bet your ass that looked like John fucking Stamos. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it.
That dude paid money to get into Riot.
He was paid to do that. They were like, yo, for a weekend, we want to put you in this refrigerator. And we want you to make John Stamos out of butter. And he was like,
out of butter.
Yeah. And he was
I
like,
love the accent that you put on this dude.
Out of butter.
JPJ throws that Boston accent.
I do.
All
Occasionally.
the time on
Occasionally.
Snarkmouth, Zark, thank you. Welcome
right.
to the chat, friend. But your screen is going to be extra studly here at 9 o'clock for Quizplex. I can't wait.
Yep, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. All right. This was going to mainly be a football episode. We're going to dive deep into the divisional round of playoffs, and then we're just going to give our picks at the end for who we think is going to be in the championships, in the Super Bowl, and the winner, obviously. I know we did this at the beginning of the year as well. I don't know I tried to look for our picks. I didn't have them on hand, but I remember most of mine.
I think I got most of my playoff teams right.
I did have the Chargers in the AFC Championship game. I remember that.
You know, if they had any semblance of a coach, they would have a chance, I think.
Yeah, I think I last minute replaced Chargers with Raiders, but
I had the Raiders, I think, deep. I think I had them deep, even in the AFC Championship.
And I had Baltimore and Cincinnati flipped. I had Cincinnati as the wild card and Baltimore.
We got Cult popping in. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you. You know, obviously we are going to be talking mainly football, and you know, I don't want to take up a ton of time. I feel like obviously it's been a heavy week for the wrestling community, a big time heavy week.
But attention must be paid.
Yeah, but we do want to pay our respects to Jammin' Pugh, otherwise known as Jay Briscoe, who obviously passed away Tuesday night in a car accident. Just a tragic story. His daughters were in the car. They needed surgery. The last I heard, they're both doing okay, though, which is great. But just a terrible story all the way around. Tragedy is something that happens too much in life in general, but a lot in the wrestling community. And I feel like, you know, this is one of the tough ones. They're all tough, but this is one, you know, very young, 38. I'm 37, going to be 38 this year. So, you know, it's just a bummer situation. So we want to pay our respects to Jay Briscoe. And if anybody, you know, either of the two of you want to say something, I figured we could right off the top pay our respects, honor the man because he does deserve honor. And then if there's anything about the week of like in-ring wrestling we could discuss, we'll get it out of the way now. And then we'll kind of dive deep into the football. So obviously I just want to pay my respects to Jay Briscoe. It's a terrible situation. I'm glad the daughters are okay. I'm glad, that seems to be doing okay. They're going to need some help, and there is a donation if floating around on Twitter or social medias. If you can donate, help. If not, share it. You know, we're a community, and when we lose someone, it's never easy. So I just want to pay my respects to Jay. So,
and that's what I was gonna like. I've been listening to all the stories all week, and it hit me hard because he's so young and he's got kids, and I've got kids. So you know, immediately I default to like, is his kids okay? They were in the car. I didn't know Ring of Honor that well, you know, early on, I guess you'll say, and then like his career. But the Briscoes were always that tag team that like, yeah, they were never on mainstream television, but you always knew them, and you always knew that they were going to put on a good match. So like, it was just, but it's tough. It's like I always default, especially with wrestlers that maybe I didn't follow as closely as others. With Jay Briscoe, for instance, like just the stories, like nobody said anything negative about this guy, right? Even the controversial stuff that happened, they talked about how he went leaps and bounds to just, you know, remorsefully try to right that wrong,
to grow from it, you know,
to grow and be a better person. And he helped so many people. Like he's touched the lives of so many of our favorite wrestlers that like, it just blew me away. And like my thoughts again, like I said, you know, go out to his family, you know, cause like, that's where I go with these things. Like, oh my God, like I couldn't imagine that happening to me or my wife, and like what my kids would do without their, you know, parents. So to his family and friends, like we're obviously rooting for you. And it hit me in a weird way too, because like literally, and I don't want to go too far off topic, but a friend of the show, one of our loyal listeners for a while there, he's a friend of mine. He passed away the same day. And I was just like, life is short, man. Like drink it in, enjoy what you're doing. Just, you know, that's all I can say is like, just go hug somebody that maybe you didn't, or if you've got beef with somebody, like squash it. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's too damn short to like, you never know in an instant, like it could just be gone. And like my thoughts and prayers go out to, you know, the Briscoes and the families. And like I said, whew, man, it's been crazy to think that just like that, like it was just a random, he was picking his kids up.
Yeah.
Well, if you know who I am, and you follow for any amount of time in terms of wrestling commentary and things of that nature, you know what my likes and my dislikes are. You know that I am a throwback to the 80s. I love my 80s wrestling. I grew up in Jim Crockett territory. And really in modern wrestling, the unrepentant stupidity is great, but and you'll pardon the crassness of the terminology, but what has gotten my wrestle boner going for the last number of years. Look, I've loved the horsewomen in WWE. They've been fantastic. They've helped reignite my interest in wrestling. But the only two acts in wrestling that I get excited about, really, and as a fan and fanboy over, are the Briscoes and FTR.
Mm-hmm.
And I've explained why, and a lot of it's throwback, but a lot of it is what got me into wrestling. And the reason I am really taking Jay Briscoe's death so hard, and I've actually this week I just spent an hour talking about this, so you'll forgive me if I break up a little bit more. Wrestling as an art form has lost the art of the promo with intent.
Yeah.
If I could use that terminology. Like Jay Briscoe was a method actor in many, many ways. He is a guy who will look into the camera and you go, oh shit, he may kill me.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen with wrestlers anymore. And it's a generational thing where now wrestling is a happy community where, oh, it's fun. We're going to go learn how to do wrestling. And it's not, and suburban kids are trying it out and it's great. Whereas as I was coming up and stuff like that, it was mostly, kids from lower end towns and stuff like that, early men, who were athletes and that was their way out, but they couldn't play professionally. There's a little bit of the carny in there. There's a little white trashness in there, whatever. And the link there is a little bit with the Briscoes. Like, we don't get promos like Jay Briscoe, and you used to have 20 guys who could do promos like Jay Briscoe. And those promos are, I want to kill you when I get in the ring. This is going to be my opportunity. Come down to this match and watch it and watch us beat these guys up. And for me, that's the sweet spot. That's the, I am ready for this. I am going to watch this. Like 2011, I think was really like, I am not the biggest Ring of Honor person either. But I am a Briscoe guy and I sought out all the stuff that I could of them. And like around 2011 was when they really started hitting their stride with promos. Like I remember it's a promo called The Briscoes Go Hunting for Young Bucks. And there's a truckload of dead chickens in there from their chicken farm because it caught a disease and it spread throughout the thing. And so they're angry at the world because they have to dump these dead chickens out there. And Jay is just on such a rant and stuff that I believe it's his wife who's filming the promo on like a camera or a phone. It says Jamin, calls him by the real name, breaks the whole strategy, and it throws him off for a second. Because it's like, what's she doing interrupting this promo or whatnot? But it's like, we can't use this promo because you are swearing too much. And then Jay just starts dropping F-bomb, 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 walks off. And this is also the beauty of the Briscoes as an act is just their differences because Jay is wild crazy.
Yeah.
Or wild angry. Mark is crazy angry and a little bit nuts. And he's just like, oh, you got that boy mad now. I'm cool like 007. He's just, he's the guy who would, as my partner on Shake Them Ropes said, he's the kind of guy who would look at you and go, hey man, you ever eaten a live rat before? Like, no, that's just weird, man. Why would you do that? And then he pulls out a live rat. You should probably eat a live rat right now. That kind of thing. I mean, the great bit in their later promos this past couple years, especially, has been, okay, Jay's going to be angry and crazy. And Mark at some point is going to pull out food of some kind and eat it during this promo. And the secret is to watch what kind of ridiculous thing, like he brought out like a plastic thing of cheesecake and just starts eating it, like a jar of peanut butter, a s'more that he made on a fire using a shotgun. This is what the promo would be. And it brings a bit of levity, but at the same time, you're just like, oh my God. But Jay Briscoe himself, to get back on track here, because I'm a little worried that Mark may never wrestle again too, because this is one of those psychic bonds that they had of getting
I was going to say, I feel for everybody in the situation, but I feel
today's
for Mark.
His birthday too.
Yeah, his birthday was like the next day or yesterday. Was
yesterday?
It yesterday?
You're right.
Yeah, I feel like his birthday was the day after, so it's clearly a birthday he's never going to forget for bad reasons. And you could see, obviously, in the character, but things you saw, like you could see, like Jeff said, how tight they were. And they grew up together. Like they weren't just brothers, they were best friend brothers.
And the work matched the wildness as well in the promos, which made them such a compelling act. But you don't get the straight ahead, I'm going to come in that ring, I'm going to kick your ass type of thing and believe it from anybody anymore, with the exception of Jay Briscoe, really.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, they're one of the few acts that you like believe like, oh, this is real to them still, and they're making you go. Because I watched some of the highlights too over this past couple days, and one of the ones that I saw for promos is they were just in like their barn.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, they were doing the typical Briscoe's chick, and then all of a sudden, like, Mark's off the camera and Jay's still going, and you hear like
a gun,
like a gunshot. And he goes, "Oh shit, man! I thought you were done."
Yeah, yeah. I remember.
Whoa.
No, that's a great promo. Yeah, he shoots at an empty bottle of Jack Daniels after finishing. And there's like, another bottle.
Like, oh
of Jack
shit! Thought you were done, man. My bad. Like,
these guys are white trash crazy, and everybody
exactly.
That, you know, it's like, and there ain't nothing.
They're like
hillbilly
people.
Yeah,
hillbilly weirdos.
And that's what resonated. Like I said, I didn't follow their career as extensively as you, Jeff, but like when a big Briscoe's match came up, I knew, okay, I gotta see this, because you're like, these guys are legit. Like there's very few people that could touch you through a computer screen nowadays like they could. Because you're like, oh, they really want to kill FTR.
I mean, the great tragedy.
But we all knew they were friends. But you just knew like they want to hurt them.
And the great tragedy is, of course, you know, the tweets from 10 years ago that kept them from making money off of in the big time on the big stage, because even though, and again, this is also part of the tragedy, is that Jay Briscoe was very sorry about those tweets.
He was.
Deleted them and did the work, but never, you know,
he
when
never publicly or bragged about doing
it. He never said, look at all the change I've made.
Exactly.
Right,
look at all the things I've done. Like he did it. He
wasn't rewarded for it.
Correct.
Either, which is an even bigger tragedy, because it's like,
not a lot of people take that effort to do that work.
There's no Warner Brothers executive sitting around thinking about Jay Briscoe promos from 2011. Yeah. It was some member of the fandom who said, do you agree with this kind of thing? Are you going to hire this kind of person? Type of thing, without ever taking into account how the people who actually had to work with him felt.
Yeah.
Like Effie gave a great eulogy, I thought, for Jay after he passed. I mean, and no one said a terse word about him. It was all fandom, and of course there was some jerk on the figure 4 board as well who did, hey, you remember the comments? He said blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, look how great you are. Okay, people are mourning, and you want to
I would just stop it there and just say, like, you know, I think we've all probably said or done something we regret in our past, but it's how you grow from that. Like, am I the same person in 2023 that I was in 2013? No. 2003 when I was a teenager, and I absolutely not. Like, I would look back and just be like, oh my God. But he grew from it, and the fact that there's still those people out there holding that against him is just
pandered's a good word, smart mouth. He never pandered about it.
He said he did the work and never pandered about it. His apology was not for me to accept, but I value the forgiveness afforded to him by those he hurt with those words. Effie, Dark Sheik, Pollo Del Mar all believed in that man.
Yeah.
And I think that's what matters. Is again, like Smarkmo said, like Zark said, and his apology wasn't for me.
Yeah, and in the greater scheme of things, look, money is money, and they have the best thing going for them, in that their family is so tight knit. Yeah. I mean, they had 40 members of the Briscoes coming to pay-per-views and stuff like that to watch the family. That's the real riches right there. Yeah. But you just go, man, if they could have put them on AEW television at any time and just did the hard sell for a pay-per-view match with FTR, could you imagine? Those
3 matches, just one of the 3.
And, you know, obviously they had plenty of time. He had plenty of years left in them, being 30. I mean, they've been wrestling for so long.
They were just in their money period.
Exactly. Like, they've been wrestling for 20 years. So it seems like, hey, these guys have been around forever.
Been around forever.
38. Like, that's still young in wrestling years.
This is where the game is kind of, I mean, you get a little mature. I mean, because this happens in comedy too, and it's not rewarded a lot of times. It's like, because everybody wants, oh, who's the next young up and comer type of thing. No.
Yeah.
You've learned how now to quote unquote work. And that just everything kind of slows down. You're not trying to do everything at once. You're telling the story. You're learning storytelling. In comedy, you're learning delivery. You're learning pacing. You're learning timing. You can wait. You enjoy the quiet moments. You enjoy the spacing. And they had that in that FTR double dog color match. I mean, it was the moments where not everybody was there at once, and they're building the story type of thing. and they're still building heat in a match where you thought everybody had made up, et cetera, et cetera. It's one of those things. I mean, and that's another thing that I brought up this week. I mean, his best match might have been his last match.
Mm-hmm.
And from the artistic point of view of that, despite the fact that we are all grieving right now about his loss and that we will never be able to see future work from him, there is no better tribute than to go out on top. Yeah. In some ways. I mean, look, I would love to have Jay back, and I would take him over any member of any company right now, probably. Because again, he is literally my favorite wrestler to watch because of the promos and stuff like that. But if we have to lose him, and I am a man of faith in some ways, so I am, and so is he. So that also gives me some solace. Your mileage may vary, and it's fine. I don't particularly care. This is my own grieving process, and it's not that I don't care about your thoughts on that such thing. It's just how I'm processing his death. It gives me a little bit of solace to know he was a man of faith in some ways, and so if there is a maker, he's there with him. But as an artist, his Mona Lisa was his last match, and to me, at least, in some ways, I mean, that was the match of the year in 2022. I mean, look, Ladder Wars is probably,
Very
him
good.
and Steen and Generico. You're not going to top that as a match type thing, but as a work of art, that double dog collar match was just sublime.
Yeah.
And there's, he's not going to be reduced to, wrestling when he's 60 at some, high school gym, trying to get, doing the flare thing where you're trying to chase glory. I don't want people to die at their peak.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but he did. And man, I'm going to spend the weekend just watching Briscoe stuff.
Yeah.
So
and I think we probably all
in between football.
Yeah. I was gonna say in between football, which we're here talking about. But like, if you look at it as a whole, like those 3 matches that they had with FTR last year.
Yeah.
You look at that as a whole, whether, and to be remembered, and especially because their mainstream appeal grew from those 3 matches. People were seeing them. There were some people who were probably seeing them for the first time.
And if that had been on AEW, there'd have been a boom period in the tag division.
100%. 100%. And I feel like you said, people going back and seeing those 3 matches as like his final that's a masterpiece. They're all masterpieces. And it's a bummer. But he's that's one of the best tag teams of all time. He's one of the best of obviously the last 20 years.
And keep their family thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And like I said, on social media, there is a charity for them. I believe it is along that level of things. So like I said, if you can donate. If not, at least share it out. Let's take care of that family, because he was not the only one in that tragedy. His daughters
and that community is
went
very
through some
tight
stuff
knit.
too.
Like
they canceled school the next day.
Yeah, they canceled school because
that.
The mom was on the school board and was a teacher, and the dad used to coach high school football and coach them in high school football. So they all know each other in there. It's a community. Like my father grew up in upstate New York in a small town called Sydney, New York. And it's like everybody knows everything and there's one stoplight.
Exactly. So we just want to pay our respects to Jamin Pugh, Jay Briscoe.
And now let's get ready for some football.
And now let's transition.
Hug your friends and family.
Tell your people you love them.
And if you can take anything from Jay Briscoe, if you make a mistake, just try to be better every day. You're not the person you were yesterday. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Let's talk some football. You got
Let's
that Bengals cap on. We got a bunch.
We know. Yeah, we
I got the Super Bowl cap on. You bet. We're going back.
Damn right.
Swags and that Spencer was in the house.
I'll tell you a story though. In my family, there's only 3 teams that people really are diehard about. On my father's side of the family, they're Bills fans because they're upstate New York. My brother is a season ticket Chiefs fan who lives in DC and flies out for the games.
Yeah.
So he calls me today. He goes, "Jeff, need your help." I go, "What?" He goes, "Need you to buy some tickets for the AFC title game between the Chiefs and the Bills in Atlanta."
Yeah.
I know it's insulting to you as a Bengals fan to ask you this ask. But I need you to go into Ticketmaster and to buy these tickets in case your team
before we dive too deep into what happened last weekend and what's potentially going to happen this weekend, what did you think the NFL made the right call? I mean, obviously postpone the game.
Well, I think the Bengals are the team that got screwed the most out of
The
it.
Bengals are the team that got screwed the most.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. As a Bengals fan, did you agree with like, hey, you have to play these neutral site games? No.
Well, I thought there should have been more than that because I mean, every scenario involving the AFC title game, it was like if it's Chiefs Bills, neutral site. Bengals win, they're going to Kansas City, and you're like, we were going into the last week with the potential, and I think we're going to win that Bills game regular season just because of the first two. We're up 7-3 and we're driving the second time, and they weren't stopping us. Now things have changed since then, especially on the offensive line, but nevertheless, we were still, even if you canceled that game, we were still in the hunt. If the Chiefs had lost to the Raiders, to be the number one seed throughout, and we were never given that opportunity. And every opportunity was given, well, you know, the Bills could still get the one seed. The Bills could still get the one seed. The Bills could still get the one seed. And we're like, hey, if we had beaten the Bills, we have the tiebreaker over both the Chiefs and the Bills.
Yep.
And it really felt like these are the markets that they want because they're huge fan bases in Cincinnati, still that small market team that the NFL doesn't like their ownership. And God knows sometimes the fandom doesn't either, who are still on the come and still have to kind of prove themselves to get to the dance. And that's what it felt like to me. And if this is put a chip on guys like Mixon, I'm fine with that. I don't think he should have said something. How do you feel about them selling tickets? Well, I feel it's disrespectful. Well, you kind of have to sell tickets in advance. I didn't take that offensively, but I just found, I thought all of their solutions were bad. And all their solutions were, other than playing the game and continuing the game afterwards, were just, oh, well, we're just going to be under the impression that the Chiefs and the Bills are going to be in the AFC title game and everybody else isn't. And it's just, it was really, I was like, there are ways to do this. There are ways to do this where it's fair for everybody. But I mean, even without the Chiefs Bills stuff, the Bengals were playing for the right for a coin flip in week 18, 19 for the wild card game. They just said, oh, you're the division champions, but you might not get a home game if things don't go your way. And
couldn't you have just said to AFC championship games, the neutral site for anybody that makes it?
Yes. I mean, you could have,
because I mean the Damar Hamlin stuff, you know, happened so late in the season. There wasn't bye weeks to play with. There wasn't a way you could have rescheduled.
And that's how they build the schedule on purpose. They like front loading the schedule for divisional games, and they love back loading, you know, teams that they think are going to be in the hunt.
Yes, according to Trevor Lawrence, HCW Sports, welcome to the chat. It is scripted.
NFL scripted, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the best booked territory in the nation. I know that much. But,
oh yeah. I mean, all right. Well, you know what? I was going to go in like order of the time slots, but you know, we started talking about the Bengals, and I think this is the best game of the weekend. So why don't we start there?
You hope it is.
Yeah. I listen. I think the Bengals could potentially blow them out. I don't want Jeff. I don't want to jinx it for Jeff, but I think
you're on the opposite side of Eric Weddle then, which is nice.
Yeah, I think there's
Eric
a chance.
Weddle went in.
I did not hear that take of Eric
Here's
Weddle,
why I am not that confident in it, but I am confident in some ways. I think part of, boy, you watch these talking heads and they just give the worst takes, even though they've been in the dance and they know these things. Like, they should know enough to know that there aren't cupcakes once you get to the playoffs.
Correct.
And there aren't cupcakes if you're fighting a divisional opponent. And I know that the Bills struggle, and I know the Bengals, look, man, it's a blood fight against the Ravens, and the Bengals probably had no business winning that game. The run back by Hubbard of the goal line from there was no reason that the Bengals were going to win that game because they were doing nothing on offense. Mm-hmm. But you do need some luck in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the Jaguars.
Yeah. Look, both the Bills and the Bengals have issues on the offensive line. The Bengals in the past 3 weeks have lost 3 of their 5 starting. They, to their credit, they spent some money this year, and they spent it on an offensive line to protect Joe Burrow and La'el Collins and La'el Collins went out for the season in the next to last game. Alex Kappa injures his kneecap or injures his ankle, and then Jonah Williams in the Ravens game dislocates his kneecap. The last two are week to week. We don't know if we're going to have them in the game. The Bills have coverage problems. Bills have protection problems, and Josh Allen fumbles. We know that.
Yep.
The Bengals have Lou Anarumo, who is the master of going in at halftime, figuring out things, adjusting, and then the defense for the Bengals, which is highly underrated, even without Awuzie, who tore his ACL earlier in the season, are sneaky good at takeaways. Do I have the utmost faith that the Bengals don't blow it? No, because I think, look, they will sometimes play down to expectations. They will sometimes get a little bit full of themselves. They will sometimes just plain not execute. And this offensive line takes away the vertical passing game in many ways. And so you're not going to get the deep balls. You're going to get a lot of dinks and dunks to Hayden Hurst and to Samaje Perine. And they can fumble occasionally. So there could be it's going to be snowing and the weather's going to be bad. But hey, Cincinnati has bad weather too, and they used to not have an indoor practice facility. They're used to this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Am I not Mike McDaniel?
And Evan McPherson's been shaky.
Yeah, that is because he's the guy, obviously.
He was
the guy that was
swag
clutch.
during the playoffs last year, and this year he doesn't have that much swag.
No, he's missing a lot.
He missed one, and they were like, he hasn't missed one in forever.
Yeah, and he missed an extra point last week. So it's one of those things. He'll occasionally have a gaffe in there. I could see a blowout here for the Bills too. I really could, because Eli Apple could get caught looking, because he loves to get caught looking. He got caught looking. The thing that's an advantage is, and look, Buffalo has a very good tight end, but he ain't Mark Andrews, and that's the Achilles heel of the Bengals, is that tight end route where the linebackers have to cover. Linebackers have been great this year. Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, all them. They're very good. The Bills' defense is definitely weaker without Von Miller.
Yeah,
and they've also had problems covering tight ends at times out of that backfield. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the running game, if Cincinnati can get Mixon going, the Bills are going to be in a lot of trouble. Because if you saw, like, even that first drive against the Ravens, it took half a quarter. They will eat clock up. The Bengals will. Now, hopefully they get in the end zone after that, whereas Wilson will just chuck it down the field, 15-second drive. Okay, let's get the defense back on there. And that could also be a threat, is wearing out the defense with these 3 and outs by, chucking the ball and stuff like that. Look, heart says Bengals, head says Bills, but I'm going to go with my team in Cincinnati just because.
All right. Want to say a couple. I know. Got to say a couple hellos in the chat. We got Roundtable Pro Wrestling Pod in here,
brother?
Showing some love.
Hey.
Thank you. I am feeling a lot better. I think I'm officially over it. That cough and stuffiness lingered for 2.5 weeks. I was murdered.
Man.
It was bad. But we culp. Screw yourself. So we're it's all right. Enjoy it. Yes, I know. The Patriots stink for the first time in 20 years, guys. I know. It was a while.
Don't worry.
Live it up.
Brady's coming back.
Live it up while you can.
And so is Bill O'Brien to call your offense.
Yeah, that's what we need. We would have been a playoff team if we had somebody who knew how to call offense.
That's
is
true.
Charlie Weiss still available?
Charlie Weiss still taking phone calls, I think.
I think so.
It's like the piece
All
of
right, Pluggo, who are you going with in the Bengals and the Bills? Where you going?
Oh my God, Jeff! I don't want to do it to you.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm at peace with the Bills winning this game.
It's going to be interesting, right? There's going to be a lot of emotion here in this game. I mean,
I'm expecting
Just
DeMar
from, like,
Hamlin to show up.
he's going to be in the
he's
building.
going to be he was at the facility this week. I think he's going to be in the building.
Oh, yeah, and that crowd's going to be wild.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And everybody's going to be amped, and then they're going to lose their mind, and then the Bengals are going to win. But continue.
That's what
that's where I'm, and I don't want to use that as like what puts them over the top, but it's just going to be, I think they're going to come out with some fire, and it's going to be a hell of a game. I expect it to be a good game. I don't expect it to be a blowout on either side, but I'm leaning Bills.
I said I think there's potential.
I don't know
if I think it'll
happen.
Come back, Jeff. We love you.
No. It wouldn't shock me if it was like that Chiefs AFC title game where the Bills are just drubbing the Bengals in the first half because of the emotion and because the defensive backs aren't expecting the deep passes so early in the snow or whatever, and then Lou Anarumo has to concoct a game plan, and then they start edging back because Joe Burrow has that mindset where he's not Andy Dalton and giving up afterwards. But sorry, go ahead, JPJ.
I'm taking the Bengals here. I'm taking the Bengals. Love the Bills. No, I don't love the Bills. They're in my division. I hate the Bills. I mean, from a talent perspective, I love the Bills.
You wish you were the Bills this year.
Right now, no. Yeah, I mean, right now, I'd like to be in the playoffs.
Contractually obligated to hate the Bills.
No, yeah, you know what it means.
Yeah.
I'll sit here all day and I say the Bills are one of the best teams in the league. If they won the Super Bowl, I would not be shocked. Fuck the Bills.
Yes. That's me and the Steelers or the Ravens. It's
fuck the Steelers. That's my least favorite team.
You have to hand it to Mike Tomlin. I go, dude, I
played
against Tomlin in high school.
Mrs.
Pluggo is a Steelers fan. It's her only negative trait.
You know how hard it was for me for one of her birthday presents? I bought her like a nice Steelers hoodie, and it like hurt me to pay for.
I would never be.
My long distance girlfriend is a Steelers fan. She sent me a garden gnome of the Steelers, and I'm just like, I hate these people.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The garden gnome.
The thing that gets me, Joe Burrow's cool as a cucumber, man.
Yeah,
he's cool as a cucumber, and I got to watch a guy for 20 years be cool as a cucumber, and those guys win more often than not. And don't get me wrong, Josh Allen, from a talent perspective, he's probably a more talented overall player than Burrow. He can run. He's run you over.
He's built like a linebacker.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like
he's
taking
fast.
Down Big Ben,
He can run by you. He can jump over you. He can run right fucking through you, and he can throw the ball 80 yards down the field. He's a great player. He hasn't proven to me that he can win at that level. Burrow, I know he can.
Yeah.
And oh my God, that is the dumbest thing. Come on, bro.
Don't get blocked, bro.
I don't care about your little jabs.
Anyway,
come on, bro.
Smart Mouth said it should have bootlegged it.
I should have bootlegged it. But I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I think
I do love Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I think that they.
I want the Patriots to trade for T. Higgins. Thank you. Okay. All right. Never mind.
Anyway,
so
haven't you given enough Bengals rings? Because you always, Burkhead, Jeremy Hill.
Yeah.
Ocho
well, he's on his last year. They're not going to be able to pay him because they're going to have to pay Chase a year after. No, so just give him a first round pick and give us T. Higgins.
30 days
anyway.
Jail,
all right.
Anyway, we got a hard out tonight because
we got 20 minutes. We got 3 games.
We're good. We're good. Don't worry about that.
No, I was doing the segue into we got the hard out tonight. We got Quizplex at 9:00. So if you're in the chat, stay here on this channel. It's Von Vertigo, Eli Surge, TJ Cannon, Smart Mouse hosting the thing. I think Spencer's going to be there keeping tallies, drinking beers. Quizplex is a fun time. So stay tuned after this. But anyway, I was trying to promote the content on the site, JPJ.
I wasn't yelling. I didn't yell at you.
I yelled at you. I'm sorry.
You can yell, Jeff. You're allowed. Okay.
The first game of the weekend will be on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. And we have those pesky AEW Jaguars, the Jacksonville Jaguars, traveling to the number 1 seed, Kansas City Chiefs.
Woof.
Hey, man. The Jags are pesky. They're going to get this is one of those things to me. First quarter might be tight, and then the Chiefs win by.
This is 20, that we're 24. Happy to. This is that we're happy to be there.
However, though, I will say, good on the Jaguars. Good on the Jaguars. That was a gutsy performance. The Chargers gave away the game, obviously, but Trevor Lawrence in particular. You look that bad in the first half, and you throw 4 picks. For you to forget about that during halftime, whatever speech, whatever he did, to forget about that and have that type of
Think about
perfect
that Waffle House, baby.
second half, that is that shows a lot of guts to me, especially for a young quarterback. Again, I think I have the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. I know it's a boring pick, but Mahomes is the best player to me, and he's far and away the best player. And that's just, I just think he's on a different level than everybody else. So they're my pick to win the whole thing. So I obviously have them winning this game, but I like the Jaguars. I like Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, this is one of those. I think they hang around at the beginning, and then the Chiefs are like, no, and they just kind of take over and win by a lot. Yeah,
You're throwing it too. Okay.
I'll throw it a Pluggo. We'll end with Jeff on this one.
This is where I'm at. So, like, I actually turned that game off. I was like, oh, shit. Like, Jags made the playoffs. They're happy to be here.
I missed the whole first half.
Yeah, and I woke up to, like, what the hell happened?
I turned it on, and it was 27-7, and I was like, I'll hang around just to see. And then it was like, oh, shit. And then it just started, but anyway.
And this isn't a knock on, like, Jacksonville at all, right? The Chiefs, this is what they do, right? They've been there. They know what to do. The Jaguars weren't expected to be here. They made it. They're happy to be here. It's going to be, and again, if Trevor Lawrence has any semblance of that first half in the Chiefs game,
it's over.
They're gonna capitalize on that every time and make him pay. And I just think that, like, hey, you had a nice run, Chiefs by 2 touchdowns at minimum.
Yeah.
Jeff's gonna be like, nope, Jaguars all the way.
Well, I want to agree with you all.
Defense is good, though. I like the defense.
I will say this, though. I still am holding out hope that they got to send them one of these.
Don't steal my thunder, JPJ. Look, they played in the regular season, and the Jags played them tight for a while. Now this is the playoffs, bigger stakes, blah blah blah. I get that we're happy to be here, but the last few years, a 4 has beaten a 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the team that was happy to be there last year were the Bengals, and they made a run of it. And sometimes you're too dumb to know what you don't know. Do I think the Jaguars are going to win? No. Do I think they might stay in it for a lot longer than people are giving them credit for? Oh yeah, they have the best linebacker in football, I think.
Don't get me wrong. I want them to win,
and I like their coach.
They have a great back 7. They have a smarter coach in the Chiefs, and I love Andy Reid, but his assistants do dumb things sometimes. Spagnuolo is a genius. I'm looking at Bieniemy. There's a reason Eric Bieniemy has not gotten a head coaching job out of all these interviews he's had. It's because he's a bad interview, and he does some things on offense sometimes where you just go, what? And sometimes they get a little bit too cute, and sometimes when they get cute, they get their hand caught in the cookie jar. One of the things not said about this comeback by the Jaguars is how mentally tough you have to be to stay in there and keep chipping away and chipping away. But I expected, when Doug Peterson did his halftime interview, there was nothing shaken about him in it. And these are intangibles and they don't really mean much, and I get that. But the strongest part of the Jaguars to me is the back 7 of their defense, and that matches up well with the strongest part of the Chiefs, which is their tight ends and their receivers. Now they are getting back a running back, but their running game has never been strong. And if they can shut down the pass, the Chiefs are going to have a hard time possibly scoring some points, all those points that they score. Now, if there's a lapse like there was in the Detroit game for Jacksonville, then they're in trouble, and they might get blown out, much like Detroit blew them out.
Yeah.
But also, the other thing is, again, I always look at this for close games. You always want to look at the kicker. And Harrison Butker was out for a number of weeks with an injury, and then has been a little shaky here and there on the long ones.
And he's usually a steady kicker too. I feel like the steady kickers are something. Yeah.
And would it absolutely knock me off my feet if the Jaguars won this game? No, because this is the playoffs and this is big boy football. And sometimes the bye week does weird things to you. Some teams are motivated by it. Some teams have a nice rest. Some teams shut it off mentally, even though they're professional athletes and they should be up at all times. But yeah, I think we're getting a rematch of Chiefs Bengals for the AFC title game.
Hey,
All right, there we go.
There you go.
All right.
But I do want to give props to the Jags, who have had a hell of a
a
hell of a run. I mean, they were a hot team coming in because they went on that run for that last half of the season. So,
Yep.
You know, and
I don't disagree.
Isn't it funny? All they did add some parts, but like Urban Meyer, like.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
he had people thinking Trevor Lawrence was a bust, and then Doug.
Yeah,
Peterson
it's
like,
because
no, he's that dude.
And what happens? You give the team and you give Trevor Lawrence some structure.
Yep.
And
But let me ask you something: between Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster, wouldn't you rather have Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
And his speed?
Although
especially in the playoffs,
I must say though, and again, this is why I have my opinion of Mahomes.
Said it, though, Travis Kelce's on an entire.
Oh no! Level. I mean, Kelce's on a heater, so you can't really.
But before we move on to the next game, the reason why I have such a strong opinion of Patrick Mahomes is he lost Tyreek Hill, and he arguably had his best season he's ever had.
And we sat here and said like. He might take a step back because he doesn't have that.
Everyone thought he was going to take a step back. He had Hill talking it was like he was like, no, you know what? I think what happened with the Chiefs is they lost a super duper, clearly one of the top receivers in the league.
They lost speed, but they got brains.
Exactly, and overall the receiving room got better. Like he doesn't have the shiny toy, but he has the overall better pieces.
He has veteran Wiley.
Exactly,
I guess
exactly.
But
and then,
I
like
do
I
want
said,
to bring
Kelsey,
from a Jaguars fan who really nailed this, and I didn't think about it until this week. But he goes, "Look, the thing about Trevor Lawrence is he's gonna have the bad interception at some point. You know it's coming.
Yeah.
You just hope it's early enough to be able to recover from it. And of course, the first two passes he throws in that Charger games are interception.
Yeah." Yeah.
By the way, my 7-year-old son was really fixated on the Jaguars during that first half, so he might lean Jaguars fan. So I might have to join him.
Good,
maybe.
All right. Root for the underdog. It's better than rooting for the house.
He was like, he's like, I like that team's colors. So what are their names? And he was
don't let him be a Bengals fan though. Ever.
I already did that. I spent my time in Cincy, and it wasn't fun for me.
Therapy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Saturday evening, 8:15 kickoff on Fox. We have the number 1 seed Philadelphia Eagles. Another divisional matchup here. I kind of want to lead with this one, but they will be hosting the number 6 seed New York Football Giants. My lead is I think the Giants are winning. That's my lead.
I've been trying to talk myself into it.
I didn't have to talk myself.
Are you on
into
the Danny Dimes hype?
No, because I hate the Giants.
No,
I'm on
the Saquon Barkley train. That they can't stop his running because while their strongest part of the Eagles defense is their defensive backs, if Saquon Barkley is getting tackled by defensive backs, he's already gotten through your front 7 and you're in trouble.
Right? Yeah,
I know Lawrence might be here. If he is, I'm sorry because I know he's an Eagles fan, but look, they're the number 1 seed.
Off our lawyer, bro.
I'm sorry. I think the Giants. I loved what I saw from the Giants against the Vikings.
The Giants are
and I think the Vikings are frauds.
Team in the league, though. That's my
problem with
them.
I know.
I love Dable as a coach.
Yeah,
and that little excited bulldog. I just want to rub his head and go.
Yeah. If Daniel Jones can play like he played last week every week.
Yes,
I'm just saying.
That's the other part is, do they give him the game plan where he looks like, oh yeah, that's the guy who was awesome at Duke and came to New York and is a leader, or do they give the guy, or do they get scared and they give him crossing patterns and things like that just play right into that secondary?
Yeah.
Instead, or do they get so scared that they just make him run Saquon far too many times? Because it's going to be a balancing act for them.
Yep.
So
we have Mrs. Pluggo saying hi, boys in the chat. Hello, Mrs. Pluggo. We got our buddy Hab guy popping in saying go Jags.
I'll tell Mrs. Pluggo that Mike Tomlin says hi. As a former high school rival of Mike Tomlin's.
She came in right at the right time, right after we were done talking trash about the Steelers. I'm picking the Giants.
Okay, I'm leaning towards the Eagles beating the brakes off of them.
Okay.
I was all week. I was going, oh, this is a perfect game where like all the hype gets the Eagles and they've shut off mentally. I just think the Giants' big victory an emotion dump was last week against the
It's
Vikings.
possible
which
that
they
does
shouldn't have
happen.
won.
That does happen.
And that does happen to these types of teams. So get out of there, Mrs. Pluggo.
You guys gonna have me sitting on the couch, bro.
Yeah.
But I think it would not, again, nothing would shock me this weekend.
I agree.
But I think there's always also one game that is just a blowout. And I think this is it. And I think it's the Eagles.
All right. Pluggo.
I'm with you, Jeff. Eagles, the Giants, again, that's another one of these, like, I didn't think you were going to be here. Now you're here. And I think the Eagles, I think there's a lot to prove.
They do have a lot. I don't think a lot. I'm one of them. I'm picking the Giants, right? I think a lot of people are like, yeah, you're the number 1 seed, but
exactly. And I think that is, and I don't
you started
off
13-0 or whatever. You can't now. You're you lost your couple. Whatever. Like, is Hurts fully healthy? Like, there's just a lot of that where the Eagles can be like, you know what? Fuck everyone else. Like, let's just fucking go murder this team.
How hard it is to win every game in the NFL. It doesn't happen, but very often Patriots did it, except for the Super Bowl.
Regular season, we did it. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
At the end of
Regular
the day,
season,
it
it's like
nothing,
2 teams have ever done it. It's so hard to do.
That coach is one of the best motivators in football, though. So
yeah, it is true. Yeah, it is true.
But I do like you said, I do like the Giants head coach. I think he's just like, we're just gonna fucking play to the whistle.
I'll say it. He's got balls the size of grapefruits. That's what he has.
Balls the size of church bells from Dragnet, 1986.
Yeah, there you go. All right, the last game of the obviously the
Bengals,
the Bengals and the Bills are in the early slot on Sunday, which we started with that because obviously we have a Bengals fan. But then we got a rekindling of an old school rivalry.
This is the most intriguing game of the weekend, isn't it? I know everybody's saying Bills, Bengals, but the injuries kind of take a little bit of a shine off of it.
And maybe
full strength, that would be
the Cowboys should call one of these guys.
Yeah, they might need to. I bet you Adam Vinatieri could have kicked at least 2 of those extra points.
Monday morning talking points and being on that show, this is the game where you're going, depending on who wins and how, it's the most intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have the number 5 seed, the Dallas Cowboys, visiting the number 2 seed, the San Francisco 49ers. This will be the late game on Sunday on Fox. Pluggo, I'll let you lead this one, man.
I'm just spitballing here. Like, the Cowboys as a 5 seed, that's got to be one of the better 5 seeds of like all time, right? They were
100%.
I mean, like, in terms of record, and just like they're 5. But anyway, like, they got to get.
We got 3 NFC East teams still standing right here.
Right. Like,
that's that was the laughing stock.
Out of what was the laughing stock division? Yeah,
for a long time, and there's 3 of them.
And the Commanders almost got into the.
They did. Too, all 4 of those teams are good, like good or better. Yeah. And that was the worst division for a decade.
Yeah,
this is like, okay, are the Cowboys going to do the classic blow it in the playoff cowboy move, or like is Brock Purdy?
I think at this point,
is he going to fizzle out? Right, like Brock Purdy is like, he reminds me a lot of like Rajon Rondo, when it's like, yeah, you've got 4 future Hall of Famers you can throw the ball to. His offense is loaded. Like, he can't screw this up, right?
I mean, he could screw it up a lot more than he actually is.
That's what I'm saying.
He does not look like a Mr. Irrelevant back there, There were a couple plays last week that he made, and that first half was tight with Seattle, but then the talent took over. There were a couple plays he made, like scrambling and avoiding pressure and like throwing. Right now. And I'm like, bro, like, how was that the last pick in the draft? Like, what are we talking about? Now, again, he is a Mr. Irrelevant. He is a rookie. I think San Francisco. Look, I like Dallas, but I don't like Dallas's coach. Still, I don't think he's a great coach. Not that I believe fully in Shanahan either. 28-3. But my thing is San Francisco defensively, offensively is another world of talent than almost every other team. And even with the kid back there, I got the Niners in the Super Bowl for me in the NFC. So I'm picking.
I would say this in the playoffs, they got lucky on Monday night, but they got to figure out that running game. Like, there's no.
But they can do whatever they want. They got Debo back there.
No, I'm talking Dallas.
Dallas. Okay,
like Zeke,
Tony Pollard is the better runner. He has been for 2 friggin' years.
They still rely on Zeke. which I would just sit his ass and be like, all right, we don't need you.
You're paying him a lot of money for his ass to be sitting on a bench.
I hear you, but like Jeff said, Monday morning.
Yeah.
Could be Dallas blows it again. I've got San Francisco winning the game, but I'm not like super excited about it.
I'm going to say something that's going to be a little controversial.
Uh-oh. Wait. All right, hold on.
If I'd have more faith if Jimmy Garoppolo were the quarterback right now, because he is just listen to me. A quarterback doesn't necessarily have to win you the game, but he can sometimes lose you the game.
I agree.
And I like Brock Purdy. I think he's done a heck of a job. I think San Francisco's in a lot of trouble next year going into camp with Trey Lance and possibly Tom Brady. But
I think you trade Purdy.
They have a lot of weapons.
Mm-hmm.
But Brock's playing with house money, and that luck runs out sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it will here, because I think the Cowboys are the perfect remedy for that, because I think they're a dumb teir.
Correct.
I think I think Dak Prescott isn't even the best quarterback on his roster right now. Their defense is good, but it's slow sometimes to get going, especially at the linebacker position. They're not. I mean, their receivers are not what they used to be.
Yep.
I think the Cowboys' problem is they can see the NFC Championship and a possible Super Bowl, but I can also see the choking coming.
Oh, for sure.
Always, it's like it's death taxes. And the Cowboys choke in the playoffs, man.
Also, I could theoretically see a story where the Cowboys are beating the brakes off of them in the first half because they've come out with emotion and to beat them, and Purdy's just been screwing up, and they might have to think about making a change in the second half, and that would just be terrible for them, because everybody gives Jimmy Garoppolo a lot of crap, but
not me.
But they were one dropped interception away from going to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
The Rams
and he
had
brought
no
them
business
to a Super Bowl as well.
Yeah, the Rams have no business being in that Super Bowl last year, and
100%.
The Bengals would have won. But look, I want a Bengals Niners Super Bowl just to get that monkey off my back.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of
dude,
course.
callback for sure.
Two monkeys off my back.
Yeah.
I think the Niners do pull this out. I think they're the better team, and I think Mike McCarthy's probably going to screw something up in game management and will be fired the next day.
I think there are two teams that are super talented and they need good coaching to take it to the next level. It is the Cowboys and the Chargers. And we saw what happened with the Chargers. And now McCarthy's done it multiple times before. Yeah. So he, all right, real quick. We got to get out of here in a minute. Your Super Bowl and your winner, Jeff.
Bengals, Niners, Bengals.
Okay. Pluggo.
Chiefs, Niners, Chiefs.
I have the same thing as Pluggo. That's
probably correct.
All right.
I think it's probably correct.
Yeah. We got Excalibur saying, because here in literally a minute, Quizplex starts with Smart Mouth, happened with Bond Vertigo, TJ Cannon, and Eli Sturge. So, Jeff, tell the people where they can find you, and then we're going to do our little Excalibur thing. Get out of here. At
Crap Game 13, I do a show called Shake Them Ropes on the Voices of Wrestling Network. I also do a show called The Dynamite Show on the Fight Game Patreon, patreon.com/FightGameMedia. That drops every Thursday as well. And occasionally I'm on Fightful. They still like me.
Yeah. Pluggo.
Get that money, baby.
Run them down,
you
baby.
You can find me at Pluggo_. You can find the show page at B2Beards on all social medias. Just search that. We're there. We got some announcements coming up heading into the Royal Rumble, so stay tuned for that. You'll catch us. You never know when you'll see us. We're all over the place. Might be on the brunch gimmick, might not be. JPJ, you do your thing.
Yeah, at Joseph_Poulin Jr. on Twitter. You can follow me at JPJ Loves Gaming over on the Twitch. But stay right here, because right after we finish, we have a new edition of Quizplex with our friend Zark Smarkmouth. So stay right here.
Hug somebody and tell them you love them.
Go tell your people you love them. Jeff, thank you again, as always, for coming. We'll have you on before the Super Bowl again to talk one more round. Hopefully, we'll be talking about your Bengals again. Everyone else, stay tuned for Quizplex. We appreciate and love you all. Till then, peace out.